When she stopped complaining about you, you probably felt something close to relief. The arguments thinned out. The criticism stopped. The conversations got easier, calmer, more polite. You thought, finally we're past it. Finally we figured something out. I need to tell you what most men only understand much later. Sometimes years later. Sometimes the day after she finally says she's leaving. The silence wasn't peace. It was the sound of something ending. Every research tradition in modern relationship science, John Gottman's lab at the University of Washington, Sue Johnson's work on attachment-based couples therapy, Michele Weiner-Davis's decades of research on women who leave marriages, points to the exact same conclusion. The most undercounted signal in long-term relationships is not a new fight. It's the moment the fighting stops without being replaced by anything. What you read as growth, as maturity, as finally getting it together, that's not what was happening. And what was actually happening had a name. Several names actually, depending on which researcher you ask. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the 7 distinct moments that move a woman from "I'm still trying to save us" to "I've already left." And in the 7th, you'll find the only thing that actually tells you whether what's between you can still be rebuilt, or whether you're standing in the aftermath of a decision she made a long time ago. Before we go further, listen carefully. None of this is meant to make you feel guilty. The fact that you're watching this, that you want to understand what was happening underneath the surface, that already tells me something about you that matters. So set down any defensiveness right now. This is going to land hard, but it's not an indictment, it's a translation. Let's start with the simplest, hardest truth about her complaints. A woman complaining about her partner is a woman who still believes the relationship can change. Every argument she started, every conversation she insisted on having, every time she said, "We need to talk," those weren't attacks on you. They were investments. They were the most direct evidence she could give you that she was still trying. Couples therapists have a phrase for this. They say a complaint is an act of hope, because to complain, to push, to demand something different requires a baseline belief that change is still possible, that the person you're complaining to is still inside reach. What John Gottman discovered after decades of studying thousands of couples in his love lab is that stable couples respond to what he calls bids for connection about 86% of the time. Divorcing couples respond about 33% of the time, and a bid isn't usually a dramatic gesture. It's the small stuff, a complaint, a question, a pointed observation. You left the cabinet open again. Why don't we ever do anything anymore? I asked you twice today, and you still didn't hear me. These look like nagging. They feel like nagging. To you, they probably felt like the relationship's biggest problem. But each one of them was an attempt to bring you back into the room, to say, "This matters to me, and I still believe it should matter to you." The complaint was the love. The silence is what came after the love ran out. So if you're listening and thinking, "But it really did get better, the fighting stopped, and things felt calmer for months, even years," I want you to hold that thought carefully, because that's exactly the experience most men who lost their partners describe. And it's exactly the experience that research describes as the most dangerous misread in long-term partnerships. There's a model that explains what was happening beneath the surface during those quiet months. It comes from Michele Weiner-Davis, who spent years studying women who decided to leave their marriages and what they did during the period before they left. She identifies 4 distinct stages. And every man who's been blindsided by his wife saying she's done has lived through every one of them without recognizing what was happening. The first stage is active protest. She complains. She fights. She asks you to come to therapy. She tells her friends, her sister, her mother. She tries every tool she has. Most men misread this stage as her being unreasonable, too sensitive, hard to live with. The second stage is escalating despair. She still complains, but her complaints get repetitive. She circles back to the same 3 or 4 issues. Her voice changes. She cries more, sometimes alone, sometimes in front of you. She begins to say things like, "I don't know how to keep doing this." Most men misread this stage as drama, as her being stuck, as her not being able to let things go. The third stage is the quiet building of a separate life. She stops asking you to come to her work events. She has friends you've never met. She has plans for weekends that don't include you. She might open a separate account. She might start exercising in a way that has nothing to do with you. She might dress better for her colleagues than for her own kitchen. Most men misread this stage as her finding herself, taking care of herself, finally getting independent. And then comes the 4th stage, numbness. The complaints stop suddenly, not gradually. Conversations get shorter, more polite. "How was your day?" "Fine." Anything you want for dinner. Whatever you want is good. The arguments are gone, not because the issues were resolved, but because she no longer believes the issues are worth raising. She has stopped fighting because she has stopped expecting an outcome. What you read as the relationship getting better was the relationship ending in front of you in a way that made no sound. Sue Johnson, who developed emotionally focused therapy and has spent her career mapping what happens inside couples in distress, calls the moment when a woman shifts from active pursuit to quiet withdrawal the burnout pursuer. She spent years reaching for him, years showing up at the edge of his silence, years trying to translate her own pain into something he could finally hear. And then something inside her ran out. The pursuit was the love. The withdrawal is what comes after the love has nowhere left to go. If you want a way to know which stage you're in, listen to the language she uses. Specifically, listen for one tiny pronoun. A linguist named James Pennebaker, who studies language patterns in relationships using computer-assisted analysis, found that one of the strongest predictors of an upcoming separation is a shift in pronoun use. Couples who are deeply connected use the word we constantly. We need to plan dinner. We should go on a trip. We're tired this week. As emotional distance grows, we gets replaced quietly, almost invisibly, by I. I'm going to bed early tonight. I'm taking some time off in the spring. I don't know what I'm doing for Christmas. Notice, there's nothing wrong with any of those sentences. They sound completely normal. But if she used to say we, and now she's saying I, she has stopped seeing the future as something the two of you are building together. She's still in the marriage, but internally, she's already living a life she doesn't share with you. That shift usually happens silently. She doesn't announce it. She doesn't argue about it. She just begins, one ordinary Tuesday, to talk about her year like it's hers. If you've been listening this long and starting to feel the weight of recognition pressing down on you, I want to interrupt myself for a second and say this clearly. You are not a bad partner because some of these patterns sound familiar. You are not the villain in a story you didn't even know was being written. Almost every man who has lived through this, and there are statistically a lot of you, because in the United States, somewhere around 69% of divorces are initiated by women, and among college-educated women, that number rises closer to 90%. Almost every one of them describes the same thing afterward. I didn't know. I genuinely didn't know. The not knowing is part of the problem. It's not your moral failing. It's the gap between two communication systems that were never taught to translate each other. What you call everything is fine and what she calls everything is fine can be two completely different statements. One is a description of peace. The other is a description of resignation. They sound exactly the same out loud. That gap is where most marriages quietly fall apart. There's another silence inside the silence that almost no one notices. It's the disappearance of what Gottman calls repair attempts. A repair attempt is what one partner does after a fight or after a moment of disconnection to try to bring the relationship back to balance. It can be tiny, a small joke, a hand on the shoulder, an apology that doesn't have to mention what it's apologizing for. A glance across the room that says, "We're still us." In stable couples, repair attempts happen constantly. They don't even register most of the time because they're so woven into ordinary life. In couples heading for separation, they stop. Not because the people stop loving each other on some abstract level, but because they stop believing that the bridge between them could still be rebuilt. If you're thinking back over the past months and realizing you can't remember the last time she reached across the table to fix something between you, that detail matters more than almost anything else I've said so far, because the absence of repair is the absence of hope. There's a moment I want you to imagine for what she might be experiencing on her side of the same room you've been sharing. Imagine this is how she would describe it, if she could find the words and you were the kind of partner she still trusted to hear them. I stopped saying it because I said it 100 times and it never landed. I stopped getting angry because anger didn't reach you. I stopped crying in front of you because my tears didn't move anything. I stopped asking because every time I asked, the answer was a version of being told I was the problem. I'm not silent because I'm finally okay. I'm silent because I finally understood that talking wasn't going to change anything. The version of me that wanted to fight for us, and she got tired, and then she got quiet, and then she got polite, and now I am the woman who lives in this house with you. And the woman who loved you is somewhere I don't quite know how to find anymore. That's not melodrama. That's the inner voice that almost every woman in the fourth stage of Weiner-Davis's model uses to describe the period right before she announced she was leaving. The polite woman with the calm voice and the soft, everything's fine. The one who finally seemed to stop fighting. Stay with me for one more piece, because here's the truth I promised at the beginning of this video. The one that tells you whether what's between you can still be rebuilt, or whether you're standing in the echo of something that already ended. A relationship can recover from almost anything except one thing: the disappearance of emotional investment without anyone noticing. When complaints stop because she's resigned, when fights stop because she's checked out, when softness stops because she's protecting what little of herself is left, almost every couples therapist will tell you the same thing. The window is small, but not closed. Recovery is possible, but it has to be immediate, real, and sustained over months, not days. Promises don't work at this stage. Only behavior does. But there's a tell. One specific question, asked plainly, that gives you a real answer. Ask her gently, without defensiveness, without setup. Are you still hoping things will change? Don't ask if she loves you. Don't ask if she's leaving. Ask about hope, because hope is the engine. Hope is what made her complain. Hope is what made her fight. Hope is what kept her trying in stage 1, in stage 2, and the early part of stage 3. If she says yes, even quietly, even with hesitation, you still have something to work with. If she says, I don't know, you have less time than you think, but you still have a window. If she says, I stopped hoping a while ago, with calm in her voice and no anger behind it, she's already told you what stage you're in, and the work you do from there is not the work of saving what was. It's the work of finding out whether anything new can still be built from where you both are now standing. So tonight, if she's in the next room making tea and the house is quiet and you find yourself thinking that you can't remember the last fight you had, pay attention to that thought. Listen to what the silence is actually telling you. Look at the woman folding the dish towel by the sink, who used to come into the bedroom angry and now comes in quietly and turns out the light. Listen to whether she says, we have plans this weekend, or I have plans this weekend. Notice whether her hand finds yours during a movie, or whether it stays in her own lap. Because what you thought was the relationship getting better might be the relationship asking you the most important question it has ever asked you. And the question is this: did you notice when she went quiet? Did you notice in time? That's all the complaining ever was. A bid to be noticed, a request to be heard, a way of saying, before it got too late, please don't make me get this quiet. If she's still complaining, there is still time. If the house is quiet, there is still time. But less than you think. And the smallest, hardest, most courageous thing you can do tonight is to walk into the next room, sit down beside her, and ask her. Not how her day was, not what she wants for dinner, but the only question that actually matters now. Are you still hoping? And then, whatever she says, listen the way you should have been listening all along.